Even though we want to try and rectify things and build it up slowly to make sure that we peak at the right stages in the World Cup, you can't think you're going to lose a match here, build it up, and say, yeah, we're working towards the World Cup or judges in the World Cup. You have to do well in the Rugby Championships while you're seeing it building up into a World Cup. So it is a continuous thing, but you also have to, in a way, isolate it and do well in the Rugby Championships. While saying that, we want to win the Rugby Championship, building into the World Cup. But again, you can't isolate the two as well. I hope that makes sense, if you understand what I'm saying.
Talking about isolation, but are you able to explain how that isolation is? Because again, you did tell us that you want to target the Rugby Championship because Sunday South Africa haven't won in 10 years, but also you still need to keep the bigger picture at the same time.
Yeah, so obviously the ideal is to win the Rugby Championship, build confidence, go into the World Cup. That's prize number one, with confidence. Winning it for the first time in 10 years, that's prize number one. But with that, there's some logistical challenges. We only play one game at home of the official Rugby Championships and then 2 games on the road. One which is New Zealand in Wellington, which is a challenge. So if you just purely think of the logistics around that, playing Australia here, getting on a plane on a Tuesday and a Monday and arriving there on a Tuesday, you don't have a realistic chance of beating New Zealand in New Zealand. So whilst doing that, you'll see when the squad gets announced for Australia, it isn't an A and a B side. You'll see it clearly. I give you my word. It isn't the A and a B side. It's 2 competitive sides because we do want to try and win both games. So if it was a case that we maybe played New Zealand first away and then from there went straight to Argentina, if the draw was a little bit different and we had two home games, we could have maybe picked the best possible informed side, but the draw worked out. We have 1 home game and 2 away games, and it's a pretty bit of a travel nightmare. So with that hand that we got dealt, we have to now split our resources a little bit. But with the negative of that, which isn't really a negative, it also gives us chance to test some fringe players, have a bigger squad that we work with. So yes, by all means, we want to win the Rugby Championships, which we're going to be a little bit of a challenge. Give us a nice springboard to go into that Japanese Test match, and give us, if it goes well in the Rugby Championships, the last Argentina Test match to test a few guys maybe who didn't make the Rugby Championship squad now, and give a few guys some rest time in the last Argentina Test match if we have to, and then pick the best side against Japan. So depending on how it goes, if you lose a little bit momentum somewhere in the Rugby Championships, the plans will have to change because you have to pick up momentum then somewhere again.
Do you have an idea of what your match day 23 will look like?
100%. The team know already what it looks like.
How difficult can it be to be doing all that whilst you've got pressure from the supporters? You know how they can be expecting the team to win, not looking at the bigger picture.
No, look, it's a given, and no, we'll have the pressure, and what we're trying to do is for me to take the pressure. Because what is the difference between Lucanio Am and Jesse Kriel? What's the difference between Beast and Kitchoff? What's the difference between Trevor and France? What's the difference between Eben and Franco Mostert, or Franco Mostert and Lode Jager? There's very few players where you can say this one is streets ahead of this one. What is the difference between Mapimpi and Cebu and Apuwe and Cheslin? So there's very few that you can say. So that's a nice thing at this stage. I think there's 4 or 5 positions where you can say this guy's clear cut first choice. So those first cut clear choices will probably go to New Zealand. And I think you'll see it Wednesday when we announce the team. So I'm pretty comfortable, and although I know that Australia will come over here and pick their first choice team against us, which in a way, I wouldn't say it's a catch-22 for us, but if they pick the first choice team and we've got 15 guys already in New Zealand and we manage to beat them with, mixing up the team again, that will be even a more bigger boost for us. In terms of that, So we're working really hard to try and beat Australia here, and then post the match on the Saturday evening, the coaches plus 8 reserves will fly out on Saturday evening, and the rest of the squad will fly out on the Sunday, only arriving there on the Tuesday. It is what it is. So the pressure will be there if we lose, and I will have to take it, but we hope not to.
One more question. We'll have Rassie next week. We will have him next week. So, one more question.
Rassie, with returning from injury now to the Bulls, has there been any communication between you and the Bulls if he looks fit this weekend, possibly joining up with the squad next week?
He will play next week. If Lut comes through the game, yeah, he will probably start next week for us against Australia. He will start. Yeah.
Thank you, Rassie.
Dank je.